So, God honest, truth be told, I don't really know what to vent about in this video. If not, I probably do, but I have like 3-4 different ideas that I'm trying to pick between one. Or pick between them all. Pick one between them all. But I guess let me try to possibly cover them all in this video, even though I ended up parking right here amongst the sun. But hey, at least you can see everything glow. So, here's how it goes. You know, one of the top things that I want people to understand, it definitely is on my mind right now, is in a matter of, you know, to dive, look his, pace yourself, Nate. Probably what I need to start doing when I start talking more often, pace myself. Get these words out in fluidity, because I ain't gonna lie, when I try to say too much at once, that's when I stutter a ton. So that's what I want people to understand about me. You know, my stuttering problem comes from when I keep trying to say too much at once, you know, and yeah, that's probably the best way I can get it out right now. That's really what it is. When I stutter a lot, it's when I keep on trying to say too many things at once. Like, you know what you're trying to say, and or you're probably even trying to find the words, but you're trying to say it all at once, and everything gets, you know, jumbled up to where that's how I end up stuttering. Other than that, I'm a very fluent speaker. You know, I can definitely speak without a bunch of breaks and or bunch of breakups, you know, in my language, you know, and so on. So I want people to totally understand, when I stutter a lot, it's because I'm trying to get out too many things at once, and or I'm trying to think cautiously, you know, or not even cautiously. I got the words and they're there, but it's like how to piece them together. You know, I'm trying to figure out how to piece them together, you know, and so it's like it just takes forever. But yeah. Here's how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. NJ to the city here. That bondage. Because I literally put that on my Snapchat either on Friday or Saturday, and people was like, bondage, what are you talking about? Bondage. There's definitely different forms of it, but the form that I was talking about was a spiritual form of bondage. And what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is in terms of, you know, when the bondage of sin, the bondage of a struggle, the bondage of, you know, there's a Charlotte's Web, you know, the bondage of corruption, the bondage of the unclean thing, etc. People have to understand that one of the top things that was promised to me when I graduated was my graduation car, which in question is my mother's car, and so on. It's a BMW 2008. Here's the thing when it comes to that. You know, the way things have kind of painted themselves out to be now when it comes to the car is that I'm in a predicament now where I'm kind of getting a vehicle, you know, but it's just not that. And I guess that I have no other choice but to be okay with that, which I'm actually okay with that. But at the same time, as one of my cousins just asked how much does my mother want for the car, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, that's my graduation car though. So it's like my heart still wants it, even though after all the crap that I've been through, you know, but my faith and or conscience is telling me let it go, Nate. You know, and just be happy with the van in question, which is what they're giving me. Be happy with the van in question because, you know, that's kind of what the car symbolizes. You know, it's not because the graduation was back in 2018, you know, and you should just, you know, let go of it because of that. You know, in terms of like, if you ain't got it by now, you know, do you really think it's worth fighting for? Like, oh, that's my graduation car. You graduated in 2018. Do you think that's still worth fighting for just because you want to, you know, get what you would say was promised to you, let alone, again, hold people accountable? And it's like saying, Nate, where has that gotten you? Where's that, especially when it comes to this situation? Dude, let it go. Take the dang van and just live your dang life. Set yourself free. The car at this point, that's what it represents. Bondage, son. Bondage. Are you trying to be wrapped up in more bondage? You know, unless you strike the, I mean, literally, get you. That's what my conscience, if not my faith, tells me. Nate, let the car go. Let the car go. You got the phone, which is what I'm speaking to you right now on. You got the phone. Let the car go. Let the car go, because when it comes to even the truck that I got right now, you've had your fair share of problems with this truck. Getting this truck. When you started driving last year, you had your fair share of problems with this truck. You know? You had this, you've had your fair share of problems getting this truck, let alone getting repairs done on this truck because they were pre-existing. Like, it's like saying stop fighting this losing battle over stuff that you know indeed represents bondage, because people are never going to do you the way you want them to get this stuff, etc. And then a big part of me says, Nate, just go back to the city, get your fortune, and buy you something new. Just do that. Do that. Just do that, Nate. That's what my faith and or my conscience is telling me. Just do that, Nate. Because holding on to this black car in question, black BMW 2008, holding on to that, it's just another form of bondage at this point. God bless it was your graduation car, but forget it. Forget it. Just let it go, Nate. Just let it go. And just get something nicer. Go back to the city, get your fortune, and get something nicer. That's what my faith, if not my conscience, if not both, says. Because it's not worth it, Nate. It's not worth holding on to that anymore. It's not because it was in 2018 and this is 2020. That's not the reason why. Because the car represents bondage at this point. It represents bondage. You it's like, Nate, like I said, I'll reiterate it. You see how much trouble getting this truck and the repairs on it has cost you, has gotten you. You see the trouble. You see that. And you see that you've asked to drive that car on several different occasions. Not every day. But every once in a while I've asked to drive it. Let alone in times when I was low on gas in the truck, I've asked to drive it. Let alone, I've asked to drive it as simple as across the street. And so on. And that's a big part of what's in my blood right now with this matter. Nate, you've seen how much trouble and trauma it has caused you, for these vehicles, for a place to stay in more. Some of these items of choice are bondage at this point. Are bondage. Let them go. It's not worth it anymore. It's not worth it. Because indeed, I've seen what it's taken me, or how far it's taken me, or what it cost me with this truck and the repairs on this. The other white car in question that's back at the house right now, that car and so on. The white car, the only thing the white car, white BMW is good for, literally, quote me on this, the only thing that white car is good for is the gas mileage, because it's so darn old. So it's cheap on gas, very cheap, really cheap on gas. Like where it costs, I think, almost $40 to fill this truck up, it costs $20 in the white car. So that's the only thing the white car's good for is that gas mileage. Other than that, it's not worth it. And the reason why I say it's not worth it is because the radio is whatchamacallit. The radio isn't why. The radio, I just had to, I don't know why I put that as the first item of choice here. The radio is I wouldn't say a luxury. Actually, most people would say that, so I'm gonna say luxury. The radio is not a necessity. That's the point. Especially knowing that it's not. It's a luxury, not a necessity. And so on. At least in this case, if not all cases. But yeah, I don't even know why I brought it. Was just the first thing that came to my mind, but it's definitely not what I'm referring to. The problems with that white car are this: crappy brakes, literally really crappy brakes, shortage with the windshield wipers, crappy brakes, shortage with the windshield wiper, and something else in question. Something else. I know it's like 2-3 other things, but those are the only 2 things I can name. The brakes and the windshield wipers. I know there's a couple, and gas gauge. With the gas gauge, you can almost never tell how much gas you have in that thing. The gas gauge is so messed up. You almost never know how much gas you have in it. Those are 3 things I can name. Wiper blades, gas gauge, and crappy brakes. 3 things I can name on it. But yeah, that's a big part of what my faith and my conscience is telling me right now. Nate, just give the car up. It's not worth it. The bondage is not worth it. It's like saying, Nate, are you awoke, or not awoke? Are you awake and aware of everything this truck has cost you, not in terms of money, but in terms of mental stress, getting things done on it. You know, getting fairness done on it. Let alone fairness and stress when it comes to that white car. I mean, like, Nate, is it worth the stress? It's not. You're trying to break yourself from bondage when it comes to these items. You know, when it comes to these items and the people in question with these items. You're trying to break yourself from bondage. You're not trying to dive into it. You know, and so just take the van, go back to the city, get your money and buy you something nicer. Just do that. That's what my faith and my conscience tell you. It's not worth it, Nate. It's not worth it. Saying, "Oh, that's my graduation car." That block. It's not worth it, Nate. It's not worth it. Not because it was 2 years ago, you know, and theoretically in school years 3 years ago, because we're into the third school year. But yeah, it's not worth it, Nate. It's just not worth it. Not because of the years behind it, because depending on the situation that sometimes matter. Not because of the years behind it, because of the bondage that it brings and represents. And I totally want people to understand that. That's why I'm filming this video right now, to tell y'all that. You know, study causes, study your circumstances, study God's plan, and do the math on it. Let alone, especially when it comes to bondage, look at things like that. It's, you know, it's a situation you're about to get into worth the trouble, worth the stress. If not Jesus above all, is it worth the bondage that it brings and represents? If it's not worth it, then you should not get into it, etc. Because that's what that car now represents to me. Bondage, you know. And I'm thinking to myself, is it worth it? Is it worth it? And my faith and conscience tell me it's not. My heart says I still want it though. And maybe that's exactly what happens when the Bible says that your heart that your heart can and will be, if not it is. The heart is wicked at times, very wicked at times. Like, I understand that quote when they say follow your heart, follow your dreams. Sometimes your heart can steer you astray. Sometimes it can totally, you know, help you get ahead and gain an advantage. But other times your heart is very wicked. And now the way I'm explaining it, I'm telling you, that's exactly, it makes a lot of sense why the Bible says that. About your heart is very wicked, and or it can be very wicked. Your heart can lead you astray. Because I'm not joking when it comes to what I'm dealing with, when it comes to these vehicles and houses. That's exactly what in question this stuff is. You know, it represents bondage, it represents, you know, and so on and so on. And I want people to totally understand that, you know. Totally understand that, you know. So 13 minutes into this. Yeah. Because like I said, my heart wants it, but my heart wants it for multiple reasons. One, graduation car. Two, is the person in question gonna live up to what they said, you know, when they said that was your they wanted to give it to you, that was your graduation card and so on, you know. But knowing what I've already battled, like I say, with all these other vehicles, we know these couple other vehicles and other and houses, you know, knowing what I've battled with that, that's what it feels like, you know, truly to my soul. That's what this stuff represents now. It's bondage, Nate. You trying to cut yourself loose from it, or you just trying to get more entangled? You can't keep saying you want freedom, but then keep going in the wrong directions to get it, etc. You know, and so on. Because like I say, you know, it's the matter of keeping. You know, the heart wants the person in question to keep their award on it. But then I'm thinking, but then that's like top 2, if not top 3 reason why I still want it. You know, because the heart is like, is the person gonna live up to their word? But then that's why I say the conscience, the soul, the faith is saying, forget their word. Forget it. It costs too much, Nate. It's not worth the stress. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth the bondage that it brings and represents. Forget their word. You say you want freedom. Move on with your life. Without it, you don't need this stuff to live. etc. God first, hope you understand. I know you do. God bless.